ritual at a washing station in Nyamesheke. Children go use old oil cans to get water, but they're uncovering the coffee, which is covered in plastic the night before. There was a little rain last night, and then they have the mesh underneath. I think I'd call that shade cloth, and here they call it saran. This is a brand new station, so they've done a great job. Hello. Hi. Bonjour. So they've really done a nice job. These beds are kind of wide, but they've used a really heavy gauge fencing material, like cyclone fencing, and stretched it with a lot of supports. And so what that does is it's not going to sag. That's where you can get a lot of fermented coffee if you have sort of chicken wire type stuff, and then it sags in between the supports, and then the bed of coffee gets really deep there and it stays wet. So here with this wide thing, let's see, I can just spread it out. You can do a real thin layer, which will dry really nice and even. And you rotate it. See, they're spreading it out right now. That's Joseph and Fidel, the station owner. He's from a coffee family in the area that used to trade in semi-washed coffee. Semi-washed is home processed coffee. They call it semi-washed. It's washed coffee essentially, but it's done like in buckets at home. And it's what Rwanda's been trying to fight against on a national level because it has a low value. So to increase the value, they've wanted to do fully washed coffee at washing stations as part of like a national strategy to get more money for coffee, because it's such an important income crop. Brings in foreign currency to the country. So this is what they do want: washing stations, fully washed and high value specialty coffee. And this is what you see here is unsorted, very fresh parchment coffee. So as you know, parchment coffee here, you can see one where that'll be removed, but essentially that's the green bean on half of it, and the parchment layer is still on the other half. So as it dries, the green bean, which is still kind of whitish, will shrink. And then at the dry mill, you'll be milling off the parchment, but the parchment forms a kind of protective layer around the green dried coffee, and that's a good thing. And this is unsorted, so there's some things that will be hand-picked out of here. It's pretty good looking. A little bit on the yellowing side, and some older cherry, maybe slightly overripe. Nothing too broken from the machine. Sometimes bad pulper machine calibration can break a lot of coffee, which is what I was just seeing in Burundi a lot, and there's some broken, easy to remove. And I didn't see a lot of coffee berry borer damage here, which is a big problem in this zone. It's interesting, you get some really big, long grains here. As you may know, Rwanda is pretty much all Bourbon types coffees. There's a little pocket that's more wet. Yeah, there they go. They've uncovered most of the drying beds already. And in the afternoon, what they do when the sun is really hot is they take this saran and they wrap it back around the coffee and sort of heap the coffee together in the heat of the day, because they don't want it to over dry, to get too much hot sun on it. So they do such a good job in Rwanda. This area is amazing. Super high altitude. And a little bit cloudy and cold. Up there is all Nyungwe National Forest, which goes into Kiburi, is that right? Kiburi National Forest in Burundi, protecting the water supply, and it's a great sort of buffer between the two countries. Okay, washing station. This is my first visit to this one, so this is kind of the stuff I'm looking for. Like, how good are the drying beds? Are they getting good technical advice and following it? Are they aiming for really high quality here? And so far, I'd say yes. So I'm going to go down and look at the pulper and see what that's all about. Probably pretty nice since it's all brand new. So Cyato uses a very small version of a Pinolens eco-pulper. This is the motor and this is the eco-pulper, which means already they're kind of not using as much water and therefore not running dirty water directly into their sort of slightly substandard collection system. You can see here they have access to some beautiful crystal clear water for soaking coffee after they demucilage it, and that's coming from a storage tank they have here. The other news about it is that he owns another station in another up the coast of Lake Kivu, and John is telling me the station was in poor condition when they first bought it, and that he responded really well to the advice they gave him and did all the recommendations to improve it. So there's no reason to believe he wouldn't do that here, which is cool. Cyato. Here's the fermenting coffee. Fermenting dry. It kind of has a lot of fruit skins in it, which isn't horrible. They all float to the surface. Let's see. It's sticky. Some fruit flies have come around. And then over here, they are scrubbing the coffee in the washing and grading channel. This is what you do in the morning after a night of pulping, but I think I'll ask them their fermentation time is probably quite, night of fermenting, their fermentation time is probably quite long. So you see here the light fruit skins are getting nicely separated into this end. Hello, bonjour.
Merci. Bonjour.
That's my French. It's mostly French still in Rwanda. It's beautiful though. This water is beautiful, crystal clear. Really like to see very fresh water used in the washing. There's some people who have to pump water from rivers, and when it rains heavy, you'll see that it's muddy. This is a great workout. You should probably have some sort of a coffee processing wet mill spa for people could come visit to get a workout, lose some weight. Ridiculous. Sorry. So yeah, and here it's murky because the water that's coming off the coffee mixed with the broken down mucilage